Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate and the second part of this exclusive two-part interview with the President of Pakistan, General Parvez Musharraf. Yesterday I spoke to the President about how he answers critics of the peace process and how he faces up to the challenges it's thrown up. Today I'm going to talk to him about the ideas that he's been canvassing for possible solution to the Kashmir conflict. General Musharraf, your Foreign Office spokesperson has indicated that in November, Prime Minister Shaukat Aziz suggested the concept of self-governance to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh as a possible solution for Kashmir. It's an idea that many people think has mileage, but they're not perfectly sure what you mean by self-governance. So let me ask you, what do you have in mind when you talk of self-governance?
Well, I believe one has to go beyond stated positions. Now, there is one aspect of what India has been saying, autonomy within the Indian constitution. This is totally not acceptable to Pakistan. It may not be, it is not acceptable to the people of Kashmir also. Therefore, one has to go beyond stated positions. We have to go beyond autonomy. We are looking for something between autonomy and independence. And I think self-governance fits in well.
Let's explore that. India claims that the people of Jammu and Kashmir state, who have their own elected government, already enjoy a measure of self-governance. How much more do you have in mind when you talk about self-governance?
I don't agree with that at all.
You mean they have no self-governance in your eyes whatsoever?
No, not at all, because people don't, most of the people don't accept the Indian government, the government in Kashmir.
The Indian response to that will be that in fact the people of what you call Azad Kashmir have no self-governance at all, even less than perhaps in India.
Well, but we would like to give them self-governance also. Okay.
So let's come back to my question.
When you talk of
self-governance, how much more?
When you say self-governance, okay, in this part, okay, would we agree for self-governance on both parts? Okay, let's do it.
Before we come to the agreement on both parts, let me try and explore.
Because you said self-governance,
what you
they
mean
would say that. Okay, if they are saying that, I am open to it. Let's work out self-governance and impose the same rules on Indian side of Kashmir and Pakistan side of Kashmir. Is that all right?
Well, it's not for me to answer, it's for the Indian government to answer,
okay.
But I'm sure they're listening to this interview.
Yes.
Let's first try and establish what you mean by self-governance. As I said, India believes there is self-governance. How much more do you want? What more are you looking for?
If India believes there is self-governance and we keep sticking to this position, we will never move forward because we do not agree. So therefore, if we want to move forward, we have to leave stated positions. Now,
let me ask the question the other way around. Many people in Kashmir are looking for what they call independence. How much less than independence is self-governance?
So that is what I am saying. Please listen to me. Self-governance falls in between autonomy and independence. That is what I want to say. Now, the exact details, intricacies of it need to be worked out. I am here to propose a strategy and idea. Now the tactics and the modalities of what is self-governance needs to be worked out.
Who works it out?
Together, India and Pakistan and Kashmiris.
But I mean, will you bring in constitutional experts? Will you do it yourselves as politicians? Who will do the working out?
Yeah, let's get legal experts. Let's get legal experts. But let
international legal experts or Indian or Pakistani?
I don't mind international. All these are problems with India. We won't mind international experts. Get international experts.
But will you be happy for Indian and Pakistanis bilaterally to appoint their own experts?
And Kashmiris also.
And Kashmiris.
Yes.
But you're happy for the matter to be handled bilaterally with Kashmiris involved rather than international people coming in?
As I said, we are open to anything. That is our flexibility. We are open to anything, but please, for heaven's sake, move forward.
So at the moment, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You have a germ of an idea, which is something in between autonomy and self-governance. Sorry, autonomy and independence.
Yes.
But you haven't fleshed it out, and you believe that fleshing out has to happen together, jointly.
Yes. Only one aspect that I have in mind within this self-governance is that the security. Because the problem is of militancy on both sides. Indians accuse the terrorism going on or the freedom struggle going on. The other side, or Pakistan, accuses the Indian army of carrying out atrocities. So all this has to stop. Therefore, there is a demilitarization required. And then, if we are to demilitarize, let's hand over security to the people. That is the main aspect.
Is the concept of self-governance interlinked with demilitarization, or are they two separate concepts that you're playing around with?
I think it is one part of whatever I've suggested.
It's a joint idea.
Yes.
But let me point out to you,
is important.
Let me point out to you a problem.
Because what kind of self-governance can there be if there is a 600, 700,000 army all over the place and in the cities controlling
But
everything?
what sort of government, and you're a head of government and you're a head of army and you'll understand this, what sort of government can withdraw and demilitarize when the threat of terrorism continues?
No, it should not. Yes, yes indeed. I am for curbing any kind of militancy. But
Doesn't
then
that have to happen first?
No, it cannot happen entirely. It should happen. Peace should return to the valley.
And then demilitarization?
No, sir, no, I don't agree there. If anyone thinks that not a bullet will be fired, there are people who are involved. There is an indigenous group, there are people involved, they are armed, they are not under control of anyone. So if we think that if one bullet is fired, the peace process is dead, I'm afraid this is not the way forward, and this is what is happening on the Indian side.
Can I point out to you what perhaps in Indian eyes is an anomaly in the argument you're putting forward? You're saying that demilitarization and the peace process have to happen together. Demilitarization and terrorism can also happen together. The problem is, which government will demilitarize as long as the threat of cross-border terrorism remains? Any responsible government in Delhi will say, end the terror first, then we'll move to talk about demilitarization and governance. But as long as the terror continues, how can a responsible government demilitarize?
Okay. Why shouldn't, has the Indian government ever said, yes, we are for demilitarization and self-governance? They haven't even spoken. So let's get the strategy right. Okay, if their idea is that all terrorism has to stop, and then we'll speak about demilitarization. We'll talk of demilitarization and self-governance. But they don't believe, they don't move forward at all. They don't even comment on what they want.
Let me play devil's advocate with you. If the Indian government were to say to you, as you sort of suggested just now, end all terror, then we'll talk about demilitarization and self-governance, in that circumstance, would you move to end all terror immediately?
Karan, we must understand, and the public of India should understand. If you think I have the key, which I will just switch off like that,
It sounded a moment ago as if you did. It sounded as if you did from your own mouth.
Not at all, not at all. I didn't sound that at all. There are a lot of groups operating. There's an indigenous factor operating there, and there should be no doubt in any Indian's mind that there's an indigenous factor there.
So then do you see the Indian government's problem? How can they demilitarize
now
while terror
they will
continues?
not listen to anyone. Okay? So therefore, we have to jointly move forward. When we opened the bus service, the bus station on the Indian side was attacked. You think we did it? You think we facilitated that? On one side, we are opening a bus service and going for a peace process, and somebody attacks that. You think Pakistan sponsored it? So there are
many
groups
people
who
in
will
India sadly say
let me
that Pakistan
complete.
sponsored
So
jihadi militant groups did it.
Therefore, that is absolute nonsense. And this is why we don't move forward on the peace process. The problem is, we keep blaming Pakistan on things which are not correct, and therefore we don't move forward. Now, if the bus station was attacked and this is Pakistani-sponsored people, whoever it is, they are not sponsored by Pakistan. They may have been sponsored 15 years back. They are not being sponsored. Now, stop this allegation so that we move forward.
Let's come back to the peace process. You've said a moment ago that you would be very happy to introduce the concept of self-governance in what you called Azad Kashmir, just as you want it introduced on the Indian side of the border as well. And you'd like both countries to work out what they mean together by self-governance, and that's a set of details that has to still be worked upon.
Yes?
Will self-governance also apply to the northern territories?
Why are we getting involved in nuances?
But is it a nuance? It's 70% almost of the territory.
Now my
that you
idea
control.
is we have to identify region. I have said this long time back. In its complexity, in its entirety, we have to identify a region, and then we have to demilitarize, then we have to go for self-governance, and then we go for joint management. These are the four things that I said long time back.
Joint management.
Yes?
This sounds new. Joint management means that the sovereignty of the two countries over what they hold today is not affected, but you still manage to create under joint management a Kashmiri entity with open borders and perhaps collaborative joint institutions. Is that right?
First of all, it is the sovereignty that we are talking of. The dispute is on sovereignty. This is a disputed territory. There is no sovereignty.
So then
at
what
the
does
moment.
joint management mean?
Joint management would be a solution which we need to go into. Now I know that I am treading very sensitive areas, but and I know that the Indian government would comment on it, that I give ideas through the media. Unfortunately, I give these ideas always to the leadership also. I believe in confidentiality. I believe that things should be covert till we move forward. But unfortunately, if a year has to pass and we keep things under wraps, we don't come out openly, I don't go along with this kind of a strategy or a theory. There is a time has to come when leadership on both sides have to come up in the open and discuss ideas.
Absolutely. Let's separate for a moment how the ideas are raised and why you talk to the press and why you don't, and let's leave that for a little later.
I've said these things to the leadership also, by the way. It's not only the press.
Let's for now concentrate on the idea itself. If self-governance is the solution that you're suggesting for both to consider for Jammu and Kashmir on the Indian side and for what you call Azad Kashmir on yours, why are the northern territories, which perhaps represent as much as 70% of the old territory of the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, which you control, why are the northern territories excluded?
Well, I haven't said anything about any territory. I said we have to identify the region.
So northern territories could be included?
At the moment, as far as technically the whole of Kashmir means northern areas, Azad Kashmir and Jammu, Srinagar region and Ladakh region. This whole complex is Kashmir. And we are talking of Kashmir solution in relationship to this whole complex.
So just to be crystal clear, because people are listening to you and they want clarity, the northern territories could be part of the package that you're talking about.
When we discuss regions, when we discuss territories, yes indeed, we start with the whole block. This is Kashmir. And we start discussing.
All right. So now this concept of self-governance that you're suggesting would apply to the full princely state of Kashmir as it existed prior to 1947. What you're suggesting is that the two governments sit down, work out what they mean by self-governance, apply it equally and mutually on both sides of the LOC, on the territories that they control. Can I go a step further? Are you then envisaging the
But
creation...
that is not the end of everything.
Absolutely. What are you then envisaging?
Joint management.
Joint management, what does that mean?
Joint management means we need to work it out. We need to have a system where the Kashmiris and Pakistanis and Indians are involved in monitoring the self-governance that we have allowed. So there have to be subjects which are devolved. There have to be some subjects retained for the joint management.
So within the joint management of India and Pakistan over the old pre-1947 princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, within that you will have self-governance equally applied across both sides, where the Kashmiris have a say in their own lives. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Joint management then suggests that the sovereignty of India over what it has and the sovereignty of Pakistan over what it has remains, but a creative, imaginative way is found for the Kashmiris within that sovereignty to share and to be a part of it.
That sovereignty is reduced. Okay? That sovereignty gets reduced. Because when we give self-governance, that sovereignty that you're talking of, in the sense that you are saying, it certainly gets reduced, gets diluted. Because it's the...
But it's not undermined. That's the critical point.
It's not undermined. Well, yes,
it
indeed.
Still remains Indian Kashmir and Pakistani Kashmir, but within that it's a joint entity as well.
Okay, one can have a time frame. You see, one could have a time frame for this separate entities. If after 5 or 10 years, if they decide to merge and have self-governance as one block, that could also be possible.
So that it could be a two-stage process. In stage 1, they remain separate entities. In stage 2, they merge, but they merge under what I'm now calling the tutelage, the joint management of India and Pakistan. That joint management remains.
Yes. There has to be a division between what we are not talking of giving independence to Kashmir. That is not acceptable to either India or to Pakistan. So therefore, and we don't accept autonomy as the final solution within the Indian constitution. Therefore,
something in between.
Something in between.
With both countries guaranteeing it.
Both countries guaranteeing it and overseeing it.
And therefore both countries having a stake in guaranteeing the situation in the other country's side of Kashmir.
Absolutely.
That's critical.
Yes.
So you're talking then about concepts of interdependence, concepts of diplomatic interrelationship that have never really been experimented with before. This is completely fresh ground.
Absolutely. You have to break fresh ground because the line of control is the issue. On the Indian side, it is said that boundaries cannot be redone. We will not accept line of control as final.
So this is General Musharraf being creative. This is General Musharraf thinking out of the box, as he said in April he would.
Yes, absolutely. These are my ideas. But I am open to any suggestions. The unfortunate reality is no suggestions come from the other side or no comments come on this,
General Musharraf,
other than negative comments.
let's take a break. You've sketched out in more detail than ever before what you mean by self-governance, and you've gone on for the first time on record to talk of the concept of joint management under what I call the tutelage of India and Pakistan. Let's take a break and let's come back and ask how you react to the Indian response to the way you've raised these proposals and what the next step thereafter should be. We'll be back in a moment's time to conclude the second part of this second interview with the Pakistan President General Musharraf. Don't go away. Welcome back to part two of this exclusive interview with the President of Pakistan, General Parvez Musharraf. General Musharraf, it seems to me, and it will certainly seem to many people who've heard you in part one, that you are thinking out of the box, you're being creative, you're being imaginative. But instead of winning the applause of the Indian government, you've made them wary. And they say the problem arises out of the way you come up with these ideas and the way you hand them out to the press first. Are you mishandling your own ideas?
No, I'm not. I have been passing these ideas on to the Indian government, to the Indian leadership, directly and indirectly, through back channels, through all kind of channels.
Can I interrupt? Have you passed these ideas to the Indian government in the same detail as you've given them to me today in this interview?
Absolutely.
You mean that?
Absolutely.
Because can I say to you what the Indian government says? They say that, first of all, these ideas were suggested by Prime Minister Shaukat Aziz to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in Dhaka, but not discussed. And secondly, they have never been discussed on the back channel.
No, this is absolutely wrong. Let this not be said again by anyone. And whoever has been involved in this knows that I am speaking the truth. That we have given these ideas. My disappointment is, I would like the confidentiality to remain, but my disappointment is that months and years are passing and we are not moving ahead, trying to keep it confidential. When is the time when we come out in the open? We have to create public opinions. So in the Kashmiris, in Indians, in Pakistan, the public opinions can be affected only when we come out in the open.
Just to clarify, because I think this is an important point at issue, you have formally presented these ideas that you've just given me in part one to the Indian government.
Yes, I have done it myself.
You have done it yourself?
And the back channels have done it also.
Can I ask you, when did you yourself do this?
No, let's not get involved in that.
But would it...
I have done it. I
means,
have done it, and the back channel has also done it.
That means that either in New York in September or before that in April, the two last occasions when you met Dr. Manmohan Singh, you formally raised these very ideas.
Yes, but these ideas are not new with me. These ideas are with me since a long time.
And the back channel is also discussing them?
Yes, absolutely.
So comments made by Indian officials that the back channel is not discussing these ideas, you're saying those comments are wrong?
Absolutely 400% wrong.
So when the Indian authorities turn around and say, as they did after you spoke to Pakistani editors in Lahore on the 29th of December, the General Musharraf only claims these ideas have been discussed on the back channel because he needs to show to public opinion in Pakistan that progress is being made on Kashmir. That's an unfair comment and it's a wrong comment.
Okay, absolutely wrong and totally baseless. We have proposed these ideas, and as I said, my disappointment is, and my suspicion, may I add here, that when you carry on thinking that this should not be opened up and they should be kept secret because and nothing moves forward. So my view have always been, let's come out in the open so that public debates can be initiated on these subjects so that we take people along. Now I want to infuse another idea let me give another bombshell, shall we call it. I propose and let me propose it here, and I propose this otherwise also. Then let's take 3 towns, let's move forward, one way of moving forward. 3 important towns of the valley, Srinagar, Kupwara, Baramulla. Let all military move out of the cities to the outskirts. And we ensure that there is no militancy inside. Pakistan will be with the Indian government, with the Kashmiris, to ensure that there is total peace and tranquility within these 3 cities. Look at the comfort that will come to the people. It doesn't need any constitutional amendment, it doesn't need anything, it just needs an administrative order.
So that we are absolutely clear, how will Pakistan ensure that there is no militancy, no terrorism, to use the Indian preferred phrase, in these cities?
Now, whatever influence anyone can wield on anyone, whatever influence I can wield, I will do it to the utmost. But if somebody tells me, you give me a certificate and a guarantee that not one bullet will be fired, I wouldn't be able to do that. But however, if anyone fires a bullet, I will be there cooperating in bringing whoever it is, whichever group, whichever individual to task.
When you say I will be there, you mean you will be there personally?
Obviously, if anyone invites me, I can be there personally also.
Why have you chosen 3 cities on the Indian side of the LOC? Why not choose at least one city from what you call Azad Kashmir and equally remove the Pakistani army presence from there? And give the Indians a role, just as you want to role, in assuring peace.
Okay.
Okay.
But for heaven's sake,
did you say okay?
I don't mind doing that, if that is the condition. But there is nothing, no militancy going on here. So what is the problem here?
Simply because simply for political reasons, to ensure that there is equality of treatment, because you know that's an important political concern. You're becoming a politician.
Okay, okay.
So you're willing to do that?
We don't mind doing that. I could examine that absolutely if we let us discuss this issue, and if we want to move forward and we increase the scope of this from these 3 cities, we move forward. And that is these are steps towards demilitarization.
So you're now floating a new idea for the first time, that take 3 cities...
said no, I have said this, I have floated this idea directly also.
This same idea?
Exactly these 3 cities.
Has been formally suggested by you to the Indian government?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
But this is the first time you're making it public?
Yes, because nothing is moving forward. And no reply, not even a reply, that okay, we are examining, we will come back to you later. No reply.
So you're suggesting 3 cities as a test case? As a test case to seeing how the 2 governments can cooperate to ensure self-governance for the Kashmiris in 3 cities, and also a complete and total end of militancy. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And the amendment to what you floated earlier to the Indian government is that now, as you told me, you're prepared to consider at least one city on the Pakistani side of the LOC to make it more politically acceptable.
Okay.
That is new.
This is, we had not discussed this because there is no militancy going on in Pakistan.
But your willingness to consider it is new.
Okay.
You're not backing off from that.
Okay, okay, we'll consider that, yes. We'll consider it very seriously.
Let me put to you one of the responses...
If that is the way of moving the process forward, I don't mind.
In other words, you're prepared to do anything as a way of moving the process forward, even accept ideas from interviewers at middle of interviews.
Yes, I don't mind. Ideas can come from anyone.
Let me put to you...
From you also.
Let me put to you one of the concerns the Indian authorities will have. They'll say, if General Musharraf is serious, why doesn't he propose this and keep the discussion behind closed doors? But by going public, he suggests to us in India that he's actually appealing to a Western gallery, or he's trying to appease domestic sentiment. He's not serious about it.
These are exact rationales for not moving forward. I mean, these are by those forces, those elements, who don't want to move them peacefully.
In other words, they're excuses.
I said, let me complete. Now the problem is exactly this, that I have been proposing this behind the scene. I've said it. I have given this to the Indian leaders. I have done this through the back channels. All of it, in detail, some even written. Now, but there is no response, there is no reply, there is no counter proposals. That disappoints me. And I think we've reached a stage where we have to come out in the open. And therefore I'm doing this. Let it be in the open, let the people of India and let the people of Pakistan debate it. because I think the leadership doesn't want to debate it in the open.
On Thursday in Islamabad, you met with the All-Party Hurriyat Conference leadership. Mirwais Farooq was here, Bilal Lone was here, Abdul Ghani Bhatt was here. Did you discuss these ideas with them?
All ideas are discussed these ideas have been discussed by me with everyone.
Including joint management, which you mentioned in part 1 of this interview?
Everything has been discussed with everyone.
Including the 3 cities that you want to demilitarize?
Everything has been discussed with everyone.
And
let me tell you that these are positive responses from everyone, less the Indian government.
Let me put it like this, we're running out of time. One of the factors that is impeding further progress and a better response is the lack of trust. The Indian government says that trust would build up hugely if General Musharraf would encourage economic relationship, economic interdependence, because that then could lead us to believe that we could share a political future together. At the moment, the trust is missing. Why not allow economic relationships to build up side by side so that your political ideas get that further boost?
It's an irony that I am trusted, I think, by the whole world. And here is one country and one leadership who doesn't trust me.
Because of a history which you know about?
Yes, it is because of the history. But history changes. I have been trusting, I have said I trust Prime Minister Manmohan Singh because I see sincerity in him. So, but I know that there are organizations within your government, agencies, who work against this. I know that. Now, if the leadership cannot be in charge and give their ideas and not allow their ideas to be dominated by organizations and agencies, then I am afraid we will never move forward. The agencies and organizations must be dominated by the leader, and he must dictate the way forward.
That's the message you're giving Dr. Manmohan Singh. Be your own man, don't be dictated to by agencies.
All leaders, I am giving this message to all leaders, including myself. Leaders have to dominate organizations. Ideas have to flow from them, and the agencies and organizations, everyone goes along with those ideas. Otherwise, he is no leader.
You're not.
If those ideas come from others, and the ideas that the leader or the thoughts that the leader has are dominated by the old hackneyed ideas of organizations and agencies who do not see anything in a flexible manner.
We have 10 seconds left. You've said many important things. You call them a bombshell yourself. Tomorrow when this interview goes on air, you're not going to back off and deny you said them.
I never deny anything that you will show it. I'll be speaking on the TV, so how can I deny it?
General Musharraf, a pleasure speaking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you. The name is very correct.